Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Oh, author of fantasy romance and romantic fantasy. Here with my first cup of coffee. Ah, delicious. And clearly greatly needed. But I do know that today is Friday. Yay! Everybody do a chair dance. Boop, boop, boop. I feel like Friday should be celebrated regardless of the implications, like whether it's actually your gateway to 2 days off or what have you. Let's just make Friday be a day of celebration. Hummingbird agrees. Today is Friday, June 4th. May the 4th be with you. Doesn't work. Damn it. So, yeah, I'm clearly a little giddy this morning. Punchy, perhaps. Bright familiar. I did not get 3K yesterday. I got it was funny because I referred to Wednesday as a debacle to Dorinda, and she said she's like getting 1,500 words doesn't count as a debacle, Jeffy. And I was like, well, that's probably a legit point. So yesterday, oops, don't do that. Yesterday I got 2,200 words, 2,192. So I'm a little over 76,000. I'm still making progress. I've just hit the slowdown point, which is frustrating to me. But actually, I'm feeling less frustrated about it and just said being at I am being at peace with the fact that I should totally do this correctly. I don't typically meditate this way, but hello, hummingbird. Hi, darling. There's reasons why you do this. It's a energy circulation thing, and it does feel good. But I can't sit here and meditate on my podcast. Um, except it did clear my mind. I forgot what I was saying. I'm just doing the 3 1-hour sessions and not trying to milk it for more and letting the words flow as they will. Hitting that point where I'm getting somewhere around 600 words an hour. Whatever. I'm also angsting that this book isn't any good. I don't know if I mentioned it on here before. I uh, said at Writer Coffee a couple weeks ago that I'm worried that I'm writing the Two Towers, and a couple of people said I liked the Two Towers. Um, oh, and did I share this? Okay, so I've like totally forgotten everything I've already told you guys, but there was this thing. I don't think I shared it. I should put the screenshot on today's podcast. I'll put it in the show notes because it's just a great example of how not to talk to an editor, where this total dipshit guy was messaging this editor and she did a screenshot. But one of the things he said on there was that he was the next GRRM. So I just share that on the email loop that I'm on with George, because I thought he would be amused. I was like, thought you all would like to see how the next GRRM is behaving. And George commented saying, he said, it used to be that people wanted to be the next J.R.R. Tolkien. He said, I wonder when that changed. Was it the TV show? Which I thought was an interesting question. I mean, probably it was. Having a massive hit of an HBO miniseries is probably what does it. I suspect some of it also came from that Neil Gaiman response, George R. R. Martin is not your bitch, to the person who complained about that waiting for that last book in the series, which is especially ironic now as people are still waiting for that book. But yeah, it is a funny thing. And so then, who was it? Somebody else. Was it Ty Frank? I hate to give the wit to somebody else, but somebody else sent back saying JRRT tired. GRRM wired. I was like, we totally need that on a t-shirt. So that's one thing that's interesting about George, and I think is true for many people who realize a great success from their work, is that it does, especially after a long time, because George, has been writing fantasy since, I think, published since the early '90s. I'm noticing there's a lot of water on my table. We got a really good soaking rain last night. Yay for soaking rains, huh? Um, so, especially when you spend a really long time, like with a moderate level of success, because you couldn't say that he was like a failure before that because he was published and he had an audience and all of that. But then when you hit that, all of a sudden, like things take off, and it's a surprising and bemusing thing because it's like, why that thing out of all the stuff I've written? Why did that click? And usually there's never an answer to that. Nobody knows. Which is why it comes back to that whole thing with the people who are like, I can teach you how to be the next GRRM, or I could teach you how to write the breakout novel. That's exactly how he sounds, too. Um, very much like Kermit the Frog. Except that's an insult to Kermit. I take it back. Um, that the people who promise to teach those things, they don't know why stuff is a success either. And, you know, now I hate to reference J.K. Rowling because she's turned out, made such an ass of herself. But it was really fascinating to me to watch Oprah interview J.K. Rowling and ask her if she ever thought that Harry Potter would be such a huge success. And if she understood why it was such a phenomenon. And she said no. And she said, how about you? And Oprah said, no, I don't know. And I think that's the thing. The people who are always trying to crack the code on that sort of thing, I think, don't, on some level, don't believe the people who have been very successful when they say that they don't know why. They don't know why it worked. It just clicked, and that thing clicked, but another thing didn't. Um, I don't know. I guess in some ways it's nice to know that there is a mystery in the universe still. Could be Lucifer. Could be the deal with the devil. I finished season 1, starting in on season 2. Loving. We have also been watching Condor. Have you guys seen Condor? So this is funny because Dorinda told me to watch Condor. There's a couple seasons of it, and it is a series that is based on the same story as the movie 3 Days of the Condor, which is based on the book 6 Days of the Condor. Dorinda and I were laughing that apparently the Robert Redford movie decided that Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway, 1975, something like that, they decided 6 days was too long, so they compressed it to 3. And now it's decompressed again into a couple of seasons of a series. And what's funny is Dorinda started talking about it, and she said, well, did you ever watch 3 Days of the Condor? And I said, no, I just don't like war movies. She's like, it's not a war movie. It's about the CIA. I was like, are you sure? And she's like, well, yes, I'm sure because I've watched it. and I'm watching this TV show that's Condor. It's on Epix. So if you get Apple TV or Prime, you can get Epix. And we did the Epix subscription. $5 a month, pretty reasonable. They let us watch the first 2 episodes for free and then hooked us. But I was like, I just had it in my head that 3 Days of the Condor was like a war military movie. And then it was like, I have no idea where you got that idea. And I don't know, it just was in my head. So I mentioned it to David. And I said, Dorinda says this show's really good, and we should check it out, at least try the first episode and see if we like it. Constantly looking for a series that we'd like to watch together. And I said, it's the same story as the movie 3 Days of the Condor. And David says, well, I thought you didn't like war movies. And I was like, aha! You he totally thought it was a war movie too. And Dorinda is just completely bemused by this to the point where she went and did a search where she was looking for things that had condor in it to try to figure out why David and I both had it in our heads. I think it just is because we're meant for each other. Clearly think the same way. We have not yet solved the mystery of why David and I were both so convinced it was a war movie. Anyway, it's not a war movie. It's a CIA spy movie, and it is excellent. I know I mentioned it earlier because I was talking about Brendan Fraser having gotten kind of squidgy, but he's doing an amazing acting job playing this very creepy, mild, totally evil guy. Mira Sorvino is in it, looking tall and gorgeous and almost unrecognizable. I keep thinking about her because she was one of the actresses that really dropped out of sight, dropped out of Hollywood because of Harvey Weinstein. Uh, she and Selma Hayek are a couple, and Uma Thurman, all actresses that he sexually harassed and assaulted and then blackballed when they wouldn't go along. And now they're coming back and getting these great movie roles. It's like so great to see them again. But I would not have recognized Mira Sorvino. I don't know if she had work done or if it's just the way that she's changed. She doesn't have the same baby face she used to have. Absolutely gorgeous and so much gravitas. William Hurt is in it. Um, the two leads, the Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway characters, are fairly new people, and I don't remember their um, names offhand, but they're very good. So and lots of twists. It's gripping. It's a gripping show. So we're enjoying that too. So I sort of went from topic to topic there, and I don't remember. I don't remember how I got there. Oh well. If you're shouting at me and telling me I can't hear you, I do want to share with you guys this review I ran across. It just came across my Goodreads feed because I do have that open. I enjoy seeing people. Some authors are like, "Oh, Goodreads is a cesspool. I never look at it." It's like I like Goodreads. I read. I it opens up. I have all my tabs that automatically open when I open Chrome, and that's one of them. So I just happened to see this one, and I think it's a brilliant review. Okay, so I'm going to just read this to you guys because I think you'll be amused. So, and I'll link to the review in my show notes. So, the book is called Murder in the Manor, and Jane's review, a 1-star review, is wow. I found this one for free on Google Play. Surely some mistake since it's $20 plus on Audible, and wanted to test out the JP Audio app. And I feel like I've accidentally fallen into a very dirty part of the publishing pool. See my conclusion. It's not just a story that in itself is worthy of much headbanging and indeed has been thoroughly dissected by other reviewers. Lacey gets divorced, immediately flies to England to see the seaside town where she had happy memories with her dad, and within like 2 days is fitted out with a cozy cottage, an antiques business, a resident visa. My husband is American, and I don't even want to get started on how difficult it is to immigrate into the UK, but Lacey just makes a phone call and voila! A dog, useful for the plot, and an attractive man who has the hots for her and can cook. She then gets involved in a fairly bonkers plot whereby an old lady immediately trusts her to auction the contents of her manor, which is full of priceless Victorian ottomans, and the author apparently unaware that the bottom has fallen out of the antiques market unless it is rusty, shabby chic junk, and is then found dead to the benefit of some entirely obvious suspects. No, what really got me about this audiobook was the narrator's delivery. Please, please go listen to a sample and then try to imagine listening to that for nearly 8 hours. And I actually did because I kind of wanted to see how bad it got. Toward the end, the narrator started fluffing lines and doing retries, which is fine, happens in audio narration, but she didn't bother to edit them out, and the author apparently didn't bother to check. At one point, the narrator went back a few pages and inserted an earlier bit, and her attempts at accents, especially English, and the book is set in England, were indescribable. I found myself constantly wondering what nationality Mary Sarah is, but one thing I'm pretty sure about is that Mary Sarah is no more. Apparently, that's let's see. Oh, Mary Sarah is probably the narrator, and Nancy and Fiona Grace is the author. So I'm pretty sure. But the one thing I'm pretty sure about is that Mary Sarah is no more a real person than Fiona Grace. And she does a little asterisk. Update, she does appear to be a real narrator with an acting background and has narrated a lot of books, so the audiobook quality remains a mystery. Back up. I did actually think at one point that this might be AI narration, but a computer would have done a better job. The conclusion I'm rapidly coming to is that Fiona Grace is a right for hire hack, or several hacks, that someone is packaging up to fool cozy mystery readers into buying the books. There's a website and all. The books only started appearing in 2019, and suddenly there are a whole load of them, translated into several languages as well, and in audio to boot. You won't find a picture of the author anywhere. Review and rating patterns are a bit suspect. It all points to a pulp fiction factory, not illegal or unusual in itself, but pretty irritating for indie authors who care about delivering a good book to readers. Avoid. I should like this. I hadn't liked the review, but I did share it on my podcast, and I shared it with Grace because I know Grace spends a lot of time having herself published books with the narration. She listens to the whole thing. I mean, and it takes her a long time, and I've always been impressed at how much time she invests in that, which clearly Fiona Grace is not interested in doing. So I know Grace shared that on Facebook. I shared it here. I thought you all would be amused by that pretty miraculous review, really. Yeah, I love it. I am never that pointed in reviews, and but you guys should hear the reviews right in my head. So, Nebula conference this weekend should be great. Bunch of panels and stuff. I did mentoring last night. Just one mentor. I have office hours this afternoon. If you are signed up for the conference, there might be a couple of time slots left. I'm not entirely certain. Oh, and I didn't do earrings. I should do earrings. So, and it's funny because we're now off of the main panel of earrings and into sort of the post earrings, and most of them are studs. And then these are not appropriate for Friday office wear, but they are some of my glitzy glam rhinestone earrings. So very much costume jewelry. If you're not on audio, there is a single stud with a rhinestone surrounded by pave rhinestones. I don't think these are even cubic zirconium, although they're very pretty, very sparkly. Um, Almost East Indian in style, with a teardrop shape and then three teardrops suspended from the bottom. I bought these specifically to match a dress. That is the dress that I won for the Rita Awards. When my book won, I always have to remind myself I didn't win, my book won. Uh, the Pages of the Mind. The dress was one that my mom bought me for Christmas. I said I'd wanted a dress for the Rita Awards, and she sort of gave me a coupon, and then she and my stepsister and I went shopping after Christmas, like the day after, and I bought this beautiful green black figure hugging dress, and it had a kind of a pave rhinestone panel in the front, and so we got these earrings too to match the gown. Um, the dress does not fit anymore. Something happened. I think the dry cleaner shrank it. We'll stick with that story. But the earrings fit still. So maybe the dress will one day fit again if I'll get a different dry cleaner to clean it. So on that note, I am going to go get my words. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I hope you get to do relaxing and fun things. And special guest on Monday, Lexi Chantal, who just came out with an audiobook, science fiction book, The Mars Strain, and I forget what she's doing it under a different pen name, but I forget what she calls it. But anyway, she's going to be on the podcast on Monday. So that'll be a special treat. I need to talk to her about if she'll do video. We need to have her do video, right? It may be audio only. We'll find out. Anyway, have a great weekend. I'll remind you, First Cup of Coffee is part of the Frolic Media Podcast Network, and you will find more podcasts you love at frolic.media/podcasts. Talk to you all on Monday. Bye-bye.